$1 bill, yo.
Today we are going to be talking about patch notes that we got coming for 5.5. It's not as close when we did this for 5.4, but it is still, we have done lots of things. Progress is being made on 5.5, so let's talk about those things because I'm sure people will be way excited
to know
as we start talking. So you want to head us off here, Mark?
Sure. Let's see. 5.5 new items. Spiders. New mob type, including hunger version and variants for spiders, have been added with new mob abilities.
Yes, that hints at an entire giant AI sweep where basically we have been gutting the entirety of the old AI code and making it way better. Way better. So it will be a lot more fun on your end, which is what you care about. And what we care about is it will be way easier to maintain and not a nightmare
Easy
for...
to maintain, do cool stuff.
Yep.
All that stuff.
So that was kind of all wrapped up in the team basically who was working on that centered around building the spiders for Spider Canyon, appropriately named. And it will be lots of fun.
Let's see, we have a new campaign map called Wrath, and has been updated, populated, and ready for testing, which will include said spiders from the previous note. First iteration of new AI brains and strategies have been created and set up for better mob performance. So we're in the process of not only spiders, but updating the existing NPCs to use the new brains and strategies and manner of being. Next one, very exciting. EK vendors and stalls are available to craft and use. This is the first stage of vendors to support better player economy usage.
Oh, yeah. So we're trying to close that loop where crafters and harvesters make and find stuff, and then they put it up on vendors, and the people who have no interest in that and just want to kill can go buy that stuff. And yeah, so vendors was one of the final pieces of that, and that's starting to get pretty cool too as well. So lots of fun stuff so far.
Indeed. Character LOD adjustments have been made for maximum performance. Initial changes for crafting replication have been introduced for better crafting performance and future use of projects and factories.
You want to talk about that for a second?
Sure, why not? That's another big one.
Yeah, that's another big one, which is basically whenever you closed a crafting station with a project on it, or just crafting in general on it, not a project yet, you would completely lose it if you closed the window.
Yeah.
So this whole portion was about rewriting that such that a station can now remember what you were working on, because ideally in the future we want to make it so that you can craft something on this station, turn over to this station and craft something at the same time, go back to this one and it remembered what you were crafting, we're calling that a project, and you can continue down, because they have all been playing with the timers set to under a minute and under 10 seconds, but those timers are going to increase. So it's important that you have multiple stations, as well as the stations remember essentially what they were cooking at the time.
Right.
So that's all part of the back end of that tech that is coming online. Initially, what you will see is your stuff won't get eaten when you accidentally close a window.
Definitely an improvement. Let's see, where are we at? When resetting the crafting session, it will now persist the selective recipe from the prior session, which Blair just mentioned. New weapon visuals, animations, and effects have been added for Scimitar Focus Orb and One-Handed Throwing Hammer. Crafted recipes for these have been re-enabled. So that's cool. You finally be able to use those things.
Yeah, Focus Orb, the Focus Orb looks pretty cool, and the Scimitar Sickle is tearing this team apart. It's so funny. The whole Master of Scimitars, we made it as a sickle because it looks like a sickle. So like, it's Platoon, man. Half the team is on sickle, half the team is on scimitar. It's just tearing us apart. So anyways, it looks pretty sweet, and yeah, it'll look badass in combat.
High Elf Female Playable Race has been added.
Ooh, High Elf Female.
And Female Centaur Playable Race has been added.
The Female Centaur, yes.
And further adjustments to character movement have been added for better playability.
That was yet another big piece, was going in and messing with the character controllers to make it actually behave as we wanted it to. So you're going to see fallout from that. Hopefully you just think that things feel better. Yeah. That's ultimately the goal, is it's seamless to you guys, and you just notice that movement feels a little better. It's always just a little bit better.
So next section, Death Loop and Crypts. Upon player death, player is prompted with a corpse release option with a background 6-minute timer. And upon player death, players take item decay.
Yep.
And upon pressing the F to interact to release, or the timer expires, the player crow warps to a nearby temple/hero statue. And the player must now fly back to the corpse. Crows can now fly free around the world. That's kind of a different change.
Yep.
There is a "Where's my corpse" indicator that will appear on the UI compass widget, so you can see where you need to basically go. And the crow may use the tow truck to retrieve their body at the temple graveyard for additional decay. So that's another way to basically go instantly to your corpse at the cost of a big hit to all your durability and your equipment.
Yes, basically this is all about putting the death and decay loop back to where it was originally before we got too worried about crows flying around the world.
Yeah.
And then eventually we just caved on that and we said, just F it. We're fine with that. You now have to fly back to your body. Tow trucking just makes you eat 25% or whatever. Have you set those values back yet?
No.
Okay.
Still waiting on the 10%.
The 10% and the
10%
anyways,
fix.
it's going to be a huge hit if you tow truck, so you're going to want to fly back. This also opens up, and we've made the placeholders for it. We may not have the tech in time, which is for the resurrect, if they're still within that 6-minute timer, and the death blow to instantly send somebody back if you're on the other team. Todd also wanted a Duber head to fly off, but I'm not sure if we're going to get that either.
Let's see. Crow may use the tow truck? No, we're past that.
Yep.
The crow is prompted with an F to interact when they are near the corpse. Completing this will return the crow into the vessel. So F to interact to get back into your corpse from a crow. The corpse is still universal multi-day timeout. If this expires the body, and the crow will auto tow truck to the nearest temple. And first time entry into the world always requires a character create option, obviously.
Correct. So you're generally you have one body in the world, or you're a crow. And the first time you come in the world, we need to put you into a vessel of some kind, so we will give you a default vessel. So, and that basically the way we ended up where we were was because we didn't want people flying around the world as crows, ruining the scouting game. But now we have more tech where we can just put them in their own lair and not reveal the map as they fly around is the goal with that. So, moving on.
Sure.
I'll read this. Give you a break. Skills, skill trees, and stats. Item stat modifications, we're updating the stat directly. If it was an energy pool type stat, it has been fixed to update the max stat defined of the pool stat. That is a whole lot of gibberish.
That's a lot of words. I think, does that mean that health works again?
I think that's what that means. I hope so. That was definitely a very engineering style note. Monster Tree personal damage modifier will now reduce damage rather than increasing it by a lot.
That was a Hallish note, as you can tell. No. Yes.
Yes. You know what missed that was the fix I made to the cooldown period on the was it the champion? Was it the Monster Tree? Was also getting longer cooldowns instead of shorter cooldowns.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's been fixed as well.
Because I like to randomly type things into.
Yes. A rare version of Ethereal Dust called Chaos Embers can now be found in place of Ethereal Dust. So you'll have a very small % chance to get a Chaos Ember instead, which I'm not sure if we've shown the art piece of the Allfather ripping out the guts of the dragon, but he's spewing Chaos Embers across the universe. These are things, they have lore you will enjoy. Crafting. Great Pommel and Crossguard now require 2 metal bars instead of 1 metal bar.
Which is actually a buff.
Yeah, it's a buff to the two-handed weapon.
That means you get more stats, right?
Yep.
More bars, more stats.
Basically, that's how we determine how many stats go into an object. Updated the metal section stat packages. So the metal sections are used on shields, and I need to find a way to put them into the two-handed sword because I still haven't done that yet. Which reminds me, but they've got more defensive. We changed them from the individual mitigations to the generic organic, physical, and elemental. So you get 3 instead. So shields are significantly better. Setting intermediate armor to require a crafting table. Yes, basic armor is gone. I think we should have a moment of silence for basic armor. Do we have a picture for it?
No, we don't. You didn't tell me to have a moment of silence, an in memoriam picture for basic armor.
Yes, basic armor is gone. The game flow is now in the In the beachheads, you will make basic weapons, get a taste of the game, get some leather, then advance out to the forts, of which there will be intermediate crafting stations, and from there you can craft the new intermediate armor, which is fantastic. It's going to use leather. I totally need to have Valerie add leather into that recipe so that they have a reason to kill those boars. Yes. Starting to make a game now rather than a bunch of stuff. So that's exciting for us. So we're worrying about flow and other things like that. Focus orbs and scimitars are now craftable. Updating crafting recipes and experimentation data for new intermediate tools. Yes, intermediate tools are now a thing. They will be crafted at those same intermediate stations in the forts and not the beachhead. You can use basic stuff when you're in the beachhead, then you advance out to intermediate stuff. Added a dust requirement to equipment and armor recipes. Pretty much everything is going to get a dust requirement as we kind of walk our way through it, so don't be surprised that dust as a requirement starts to show up. In fact, there is a new potion being added today called a Dust Finder or something like that, which will enable you to get more dust right off the bat. So, like I said, the game is starting to arrive. And as you alluded to last time, it kind of comes in these huge fits and bursts, and things just all start coming together pretty quickly. Necklace gem cuts are now available. Yes, there's now the, I just made them like 2 weekends ago. The Heart Cut, the Trillion Cut, and the Briolette.
You will like them.
You will like them. Necklaces do different things than, they have different stat packages than rings. So, and in fact, some of those stats are unique. I think we've got some like basic damage in there. We got all kinds of fun stuff. So, enjoy.
And now we're on to classes. Assassin. Assassin Backstab should grant 2 pips from behind. Knights, here's a pretty big change.
I think we should also have another period of mourning here for
Staminite.
The Staminite is gone.
Yeah, no more Staminite.
The dream of the Dark Souls Knight is now dead.
And it will now live on as the Energy Knight.
And he is now the Energy Knight.
So Knights have an energy pool of 1,000, which generates at a rate proportionally identical to stamina. Knights now use energy for abilities instead of stamina. Noble Blood returns 350 energy instead of stamina. Updated strings and all that stuff. Knight UI should show the energy bar now. So pretty much, Knight's should play pretty similarly to how it did before. Only now you don't have to worry about, am I gonna block or use abilities, whatever.
A lot of folks are probably, those people are gone.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
And they will return.
Now. They can come back.
But yeah, the new crew will be like, hey, this is completely different because we never knew anything but.
Yeah. And parallel to that, Rangers. Rangers now always regenerate energy regardless of the tray they're in, meaning you can play exclusively in the melee tray if and you want.
Yes. Could cause problems. We'll have to see.
We'll see.
We will see. So those are the things that we have done. It doesn't allude to all the things that are being worked on in these next couple weeks as we try and seal this one up to get it ready for test, which is still a couple weeks away. But we alluded to the Crypt and just actually the Deathloop portion of it. There really wasn't much of, it's called Deathloop and Crypts, but there's really no Crypt information in there. And the Crypt is where you go to actually swap out your vessel. That functionality has been removed from the temple area. You have a limited number of character slots. I saw that UI yesterday. And you will be able to basically jump into a different vessel at the Crypt only. So where we put those in the world, we're still deciding on that. The Crypt location is actually being built out. Right now it's a cave with a thing in the middle you click on. It will get more exciting. It'll be more like the Yaga statue that Dave drew a couple weeks back. And all of the other efforts, there's be more added to these things. We're definitely getting more cooler AI. Skills bugs continue to get fixed. More crafting recipes. Because again, as far as crafting goes, we're just making content now.
Yeah.
Right. So that stuff is kind of, we just decide, you know what, we need a potion for this. We need a new recipe for that. Let's go ahead and make it. Let's go ahead and remove basic armor. Rest in peace. And onto the intermediate armors. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we've done. We've got a lot more that we're building to try and bundle it. Everybody's kind of racing at this point to try and make the cutoffs and get everything in, and then we'll go into a bug fix mode on test, and that's when you guys will be able to play it. So, anything else to add? All right, so we can open it up to questions. Okay, will thralls be tied to the training requirements, or like in other cases, will everyone be able to test at first? On test server, everyone will be able to test everything. When it goes to live, they'll have requirements. So you're going to start seeing this as well. We're going to start adding, in fact, I saw Valerie's test case of basically a weapon rack or terminal or whatever you can go to. Actually, it'll probably be a vendor as soon as we can make system vendors where you can just pull resources off of them and just craft right there on the spot with the stations right there. Basically trying to make it more like a test server, and then live more like the gameplay experience. A test will be used to knock out the bugs and check out the newest stuff we've done. We just haven't had time to actually build the other.
I mean, it's worth noting that vendors are also useful to us because they'll give us the ability to be like, hey, you know what? We want to test XYZ. Let's put X, Y, and Z on the vendor for you guys to grab and try out. So.
Will Raycast Cone for ranged players? Yes, I'm asking about again, going to be revisited. It's still very much a problem. Yep, no time on this current docket to look at it. We will look at it in the future. Have the druid teleport through buildings' walls been changed? No.
Nope, not yet.
Nope. We will get to that one as well, but we only have so much time in the week, and that one is not a high priority for us. Rings have a lot of class-specific stats added to the cut. Will necklaces also see this? There is the only reason that the rings got the class stuff was because of the resource types. That whole having one generic resource stat just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. So you will now make a ring that's got Fury on it, or one that's got stamina or whatever on it. Actually, I don't think it's stamina. It's a essence cut. But that's 1/5 of the options. If you don't like those options, there's another 5 cuts for combat. Any chance moving these to a place where crafters can choose to add them and keep more general stats on the cut? We would just cut the recipes by 5 probably then. Not out of the park, but again, we'll see. Will you fix physics-based skills such as Night Chain Pull and Myrmidon Net Pull? Those are actually teleports now, Blazin. Those are not physics skills anymore. And I'm hoping with the new movement stuff that the teleport stuff will get fixed as well. I think I saw something on Andy's machine. When that all tied up in that ball of wax is teleporting through objects like walls. So that's why it's not a specific thing, but it's going to get fixed alongside those things. Is Necromancy dead?
No.
No. In fact, people are starting to actually craft now. Necromancy, you will make the vessels. You still, you will go, I need a centaur, I need an epic centaur body, and then I'm going to turn that one into a knight. So you're going to have to find a necromancer to make that for you, and the additives, he can customize it to however you want it, and the same with the attributes.
Right.
So it is not dead at all. How has server performance been addressed with 5.5? Engineering has been nonstop working on trying to figure out what ailments we got with the server with the Unity upgrade. So when we upgraded to 2017.3, we started to see some radical changes in the server performance, and they've been trying to nail that down. Is Necromancy implemented in 5.5? Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's right now, I wonder if they mean maybe our vessels...
Are vessels swappable as things? Yes. So by the time that Akshay is finished with what he's working on, you will be able to equip it, and it goes into a slot. Basically, this all happens at the Crypt. You go to the Crypt, the UI pops up, it shows you what slot you're in, you can choose a new slot, and in that slot you can put a vessel from your inventory. Basically, you are unpacking that thing or imprinting it, and from that point on, it is now a slot in your avatar list. So that is where Necromancy fits into that. Will Rangers get resource cost to range abilities now that they are regen energy in both trays?
Ranged abilities, again, you're using arrows, so probably not.
Yeah, that is the double gate. That is the double gate. I know people have been asking for some of that, but I'm concerned about that as well. If there's too many restrictions. I never really liked the What class was that? I think it was the WoW Rogue. One of their specs was super energy gated, even though they also had pips as well. So you're kind of juggling between the two. In some cases it works out, but in a lot of cases I was nonstop energy starved. And
yeah, it's just frustrating, right? It's like I have all these pips but no energy, or I have all this energy and no combo points in the WoW case. So I mean,
yeah, it definitely.
Blair and I are in agreement.
Having two resource types is definitely a challenge. When will we get cheese?
We need cows first, or something you can milk.
Well, we did add water wells in 5.5. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, we just have cheese wells.
Yes, so you can walk around the world and you will find a well, and the well will produce water because water is now required for the jewel crafting cuts.
I would live in a cheese well.
Yeah.
Would you?
I absolutely
Cheese well.
would.
We need cheese wells and chocolate fountains.
Chocolate fountains and cheese wells.
So now it's Valentine's Day. We can talk about the chocolate fountains. So that was a 1 year on Galaxies. By the time that we got to the point where Lucas really didn't give a rat's ass anymore about what we were doing, we were able to put a chocolate fountain in with Ewoks around it. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, the Ewoks even had little wings, like they were wearing wings. They were basically dancing around a chocolate fountain.
That's beautiful.
Yes, isn't it?
That actually got combined with what Steve termed as Naked Day, which was a bug. I can't remember what was the story. He was trying to update. An artist was trying to update something to do with appearance. Oh, that's right, turning off helms.
He was turning off helms. Yeah, he was making a checkbox so you could turn off your helm.
But unfortunately, it turned off everything, so it just made your character naked. So people got naked
and danced at the chocolate fountains.
It was beautiful.
Gotta love game development. Okay, on to more questions. Placements of assets in the EK became bugged more than a month ago. I've seen no mention of this issue or is being worked on. Can you tell us when this will work correctly again in 5.5? Thank you. I have not seen that specific bug. I don't see all of the bugs, but we will definitely ask Raymond about that one, won't we, Jack?
We will.
Thank you. +1 to ranger resources needed. How creepy are the spiders?
They're pretty creepy.
They kind of remind me of the Bankin and Rass,
the
Hobbit special.
Yeah, if you remember the
I
animated
even
version.
look at that. I invoked an A from Mark. He totally slipped up into that one. Yes.
Did I say A?
Yes, you
Oh,
did,
man.
and we've got it on video.
My northern roots are showing.
Oh my god.
So he was really in
That's
agreement
terrible.
on that one.
Yeah, hey, holy cow, holy wow.
Oh no.
Oh no, holy wow.
Yes, they look like the. If you saw the old cartoon version of The Hobbit, which is the Bankin and Rass version, the spiders are very furry like that. They're glorious. I really like them. They turned out great. I think everyone loves them. And the Hunger version is equally as cool because they have armor. And yeah, they're badass. Good job, art team. Can we get clarity referring vessels as character? Has durability been removed? So that is a great question. I'm not sure how we're going to decay them now. That is... Obviously, we want to do it to keep Necromancy in a loop of creating stuff, but we don't want to make it so punitive that you feel like you have to swap out, especially since they have levels built into them. That is something we're going to play through after we get to that point and see if we still need it, what tweaks we need to make of it. Right now, we're just setting up the tech where you can actually swap it out and not have a vessel object sitting in your inventory. Because they look cool. I want to play with them, but I can't. It's those toys you can't play with. Will the physical vision range of the roaming crow spirits, what will the physical version of the roaming crow spirits be? Can they see players and nodes? Can they see map coordinates? How will body camping be dealt with? So the crow can only see other players and resource nodes if they're within, I think it's a 10-meter bubble of their corpse or the temple. So everything in between, you can't see or shouldn't be able to see. How will body camping be dealt with? Well, if you go to your body and you see bad guys around it, don't go back into your vessel. If you have to, you can tow truck back to the temple and take the decay hit. That's always an option. Did they say when 5.5 will be on test? No, we did not. It's still very much in development. Everyone is kind of pushing to try and make cutoffs, but it's still nowhere near ready.
Is Necromancer Crafter being scratched? No.
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 Can we put up a little banner?
Necromancy alive and well.
Necromancy is alive and well. We're really happy with it. It's one of the really unique things about Crowfall harvesting and crafting. We don't want to see anything jeopardize that.
Like, I don't know of any other MMOs where you literally harvest body parts and make a person to play.
Right? I mean, that's... We clearly... We have a lot of love for necromancy. I have a real issue with the buffer system for skills on Parry of the Templar. I buff it a lot of time with my parry holding right mouse button while I want to parry E, but I'm not press it in time.
Okay, sounds like I'll take a look at that. I'm not sure 100% what you're saying, but I'll look at it and make sure.
Could you just copy that text and save it for us, Jack?
Yes.
It's a question from Dravix.
Yeah, in case there's something.
Spiders, what do they drop? Well, they drop spider parts. Of course. What kind of question is that?
Naturally.
I mean, spider parts. Yes. What do you do with that? I think they're getting spider meat. They clearly have hide. They can be harvested for their hide. I mean, we have to have hide in this game. I mean,
I know, but spiders have exoskeletons.
well, yeah, but you harvest the winter ones for chitin and things like that. We don't have any recipes that use chitin.
That's fair.
Right, we just don't have that yet. We have lots of recipes that use
Time
leather.
to make new recipes, Blair.
Yes. I will put that on my queue. That will happen on Thursday from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. Okay. Is Fey Glide and Double Jump in 5.5? It is not. Otherwise, we would have released the Fey. So Andy is working on the movement controller stuff. It's in his queue.
For that. So.
Yep. So as soon as his queue, that Glide and Double Jump work their way up there, we will get the Fey turned on. It's just a switch, I know. I really want to turn that switch on, and I can't. What type of leather is spider, or is there no skinning of spiders? They are carnivores, and I think it's supple hide. I think. How are vendors going to work in the real game? Will players be able to place them only at the beachhead, open world, or EK? Good question. They will mainly be placed in the EKs because people want to set up Walmarts. So the loop may really be I recall to the beachhead, beachhead to the Nexus, Nexus to the EKs to go shopping. Or there will be something in-game clearly for guilds to use. I don't know if that thing will be a vendor or not. We're still walking there. We'll see. We'll see where this ends up. Can you switch your vessel's class after it has been equipped and retain your progression disciplines? You cannot. So that's one of the things that we're trying to create with this gameplay loop is, and that's why our leveling isn't as punishing as the past. Is we want you to try lots of different vessels and lots of different class combos. So if you consume, basically if you use a knight and you unpack him and you put disciplines in him and you put XP in him and you make him a knight, he's a knight forever. You can't turn him back into an inventory object. At that point, the only thing that can be done with him in the current model is you can delete him and use that slot for another vessel, which I'm guessing is going to happen by the time everybody starts with a white quality vessel. By the time the necromancers start cranking out bodies, people are going to want those blue and purple quality vessels, and you're going to replace that knight. You still like knights, but you want a blue one because he gets, I don't know, what does he get?
More stats?
He gets plus attribute points or something on leveling. So you're definitely going to want that little edge, so you're going to take a blue one. So you're going to get rid of that old white one, or maybe you just decide that this discipline, I could make, the discipline that gives you 750 support power that Brandon made this week. So you want to make the healing knight. And yes, that's how we solve that problem with like the melee classes being so far behind, is there's a minor discipline they can take to boost their support levels up such that, hey, healing is a thing. So you will come up with those ideas, you will think it's fun, and you'll make lots of characters is the hope, and unpack lots of vessels, keeping the necromancers happy because everybody is always looking for vessels. Don't worry, the character slot vessel system isn't confusing. I think once you play it, it will make a whole lot of sense. And then you won't need to, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's how it works. Will we see any adventure parcels in the new 5.5 Wrath map? Yes, you will. That's the whole point of 5.5.
Is adventure. You know what? And I never read the title, which was Welcome to Adventuring.
5.5. Welcome to Adventuring.
I just went straight to the meat.
Good job, Halish. Quivers don't use arrows.
That's right.
Thank you, Blazin.
That is a Satan.
I think they were more concerned about you guys talking about the ranger.
The double resource.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
that
not
was
a-
in response to.
Currently, other uses can use quivers. Is this intended?
I believe so. I don't know.
It's
I'd have to look.
gated on the that discipline also gives you the ability to equip the quiver. We're not saying
That's right. Yeah.
right. So you have to get the ability to use the elemental arrow or whatever arrow,
Right.
and then that automatically unlocks the quiver. We did basically make ranger only quivers. We could if we really wanted to punish everyone else.
Right. But we will. I'm not mean. Blair's mean.
I mean, that's all that would be at that point. Currently, other classes can use quivers. Will there be a skill and or spirit bank wipe like in 5.4 for 5.5? I don't know yet, Stringor. We might need one. We always...
We'll have to see.
Now that we have 10x training basically enabled on live where you get skills at 10x the pace, because I saw somebody actually spend 6 days worth of time bank last night in the video I was watching, and I was like, holy crap, he just bought the whole tree. Oh, wait a minute, that was worth 60 days that he just spent? You're like, okay.
Yeah.
So we're a little less worried about that now that we have a way to artificially advance you guys. And we will do it if we need it. Okay, why does the assassin have to be in the harvest trade to enter stealth? Because we don't want them in combat mode and just ducking out of combat. If you want to duck out of combat and go into stealth, there are 2 powers available to you. Yes?
Supercharged?
Yes?
Right?
Yes.
I mean,
So yes,
I didn't realize you're like...
yes, that was the
quizzing
question.
me.
That was quiz. All right, question 1.
With the question mark.
That was, in fact, a question. Yes, there is the duelist one, and then there is the...
The assassin one.
And technically the confessor one puts them in stealth, but it pops them out after it's over. All right, are you going to continue to remove root motion from the rest of the skills in the game? I think Champion Rend had it removed recently, and it worked better. Remembered on Colossus Smash. Well, so we still have root motion in the game because that's how the Nethari Dash works. That is a complete root motion power. The leaps are root motions. So, no, we still have to fix it and keep it working because we have powers that rely on it. Wood Elf mobility was cut back via a pair of changes to how Dissipate works. Following that, several classes saw fixes which increased their mobility. It now seems like the mobility nerf may have been overdone. Any chance of evaluating this?
Right. Well, I mean, basically, right now your dodge refresh time is basically linked to how far you can dodge, right? So I would be leery of reducing that without reducing the
How
range.
far? Yep.
So
That was the price. That was the blood price. All right. Similar question to projectiles versus raycast. Are you going to move the remaining projectile abilities such as Druid Bear to raycast? Champion Hurlbat was recently made a raycast as a projectile, and it works a lot better now. We will see. Where necessary, we can talk about it.
yeah, sometimes it's a matter of style. Like for example, the Ghost Army could not work as a raycast because
Yeah.
it requires
Yeah, same with the
That-
tornadoes.
tornadoes, stuff like that. Some
Yeah,
things are going to have to. So we're never going to get rid of projectiles completely, but where it makes sense and for the purposes of gameplay, we have been doing that. So
Ghost Army. All right. Crowfall, when are guilds going to be in? That is not currently in the 5.5 cycle. I think a piece of it might be in 5.6. Okay, food consumption is off the chain now. 1 5 to 8 minute fight will tank the entire chicken ticker. Can we get that relooked at for stamina usage? We can, but food is very important. And what's funny is that is just the side effect of a bug getting fixed, because that rate has been in there for. We haven't touched the rates for probably a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like I don't, in fact, think we've ever changed.
You're
those.
the only one who's I think ever touched that one. So
And
if
the
you
only
haven't touched
reason
it ain't been touched.
a series of bugs were making it such that food was not a problem. Like, hey, every time I swap a tray or equip an item, I get free chicken ticker. So, yes. And now with Once even more food gets in, then less of a problem. I really like the survivalist campfires.
Yeah.